finally, we're here today. I know I've been having a chat to you ladies about the first of our 8 webinar series of Advancing Women in Tourism. So welcome and thank you everybody for saying yes. I was very hopeful that when I sent out the invitations that people would be eager, and I've been receiving emails from a whole range of people throughout the state going, is there any more spaces? So people want to jump on board, so that'll be fantastic. As I mentioned, we have 120 odd people registered today. We'll see how many people eventually come on board. But before I officially start today and formally introduce everybody, I just wanted to let everybody know that this was, welcome Rachel, how are you? I just wanted to let everybody know that this was actually possible due to the Queensland Government's Advancing Women in Business initiative. So they have been running this initiative for a couple of years, and this whole
everyone, I'm sorry I'm late.
No, that's fine. Welcome. I'm about to introduce you in just a moment. I'd also like to acknowledge the support in promoting this through QTIC, the Queensland Tourism Industry Council, through Tourism Events Queensland, and also the support that I've had from the 13 regional tourism authorities. So initially I went out to all the tourism authorities and said, this is what I'd like to do. Could you please nominate some women in your region that you believe would be a wonderful spokesperson for their business in their region? And I congratulate each and every one of you ladies because you were put forth. So wonderful.
Hey.
I also formally wanted to acknowledge, now that we're online, Bindi. Bindi is from the Ethical Change Agency. Bindi has been an absolute godsend for a range of things. As people know, I have actually just done a whole rebrand of my business from Tourism Gems to BTL Gems. And Bindi was the wonderful lady behind my website, and she's also conducting all the IT behind this webinar. The webinar, for your reference, will be recorded and it will be then transposed over to an audio-only podcast series, and that'll be available on all the usual spaces, Spotify, and I'm sure that Bindi will let us know. And it'll also be redistributed. So we'll be sending this back out to everybody that has registered that may have missed it today, and it will be on that same landing page that everybody registered. So welcome everybody, thank you. Also, I'd just like to mention that there is obviously a chat ability on this webinar. So if people have something, a question that they'd like to ask one of the panelists or myself, Bindi will be actually monitoring that, and further on down through the chat, we might have a look at those questions and see what we're doing. So formally, I would like to welcome everybody here today. So I'd like to introduce to the participants that we have. We have Julie Telford, who is an owner-operator from Whitsundays, from Red Cat Adventures. We have the lovely Glenda Daly from Cobbold Gorge in the Outback. We have Rachel Smith, who is from the beautiful Novotel Twin Waters. Amanda Hinton, General Manager from Capricorn Caves. We have Loni, the lovely Loni Hammond from Kelly's Beach Resort. We have Amy Gash from beautiful Lady Elliott. She's got the gorgeous little image of the turtle swimming in the background, so that is really beautiful. And last but not least, we have Bridget from Paronella Park and the Mamu Tropical Skywalk. Is that correct?
That's me.
Excellent. So as I was mentioning initially when we put this together, the whole purpose of this series is to connect, support and engage women throughout Queensland. So as you can see here, for everybody that is listening, we've got women from, from tropical North Queensland to the Outback, Whitsundays, and everywhere in between. So one of the things I'd like to just say is, and I mentioned this earlier, 12 months ago, who would have thought that we would have been in this situation? We would have been up to our ears doing tourism award submissions and working out, what we're doing from a marketing perspective and strategically looking at new target markets. So I'd like to go around and just ask, as Queensland is now slowly opening up, if you'd like to explain where your business is at this present time, and what do you think is the hardest thing that you've had to do to date? And what I'd like to do is I might start with Julie, and then I'll go to Glenda. So Julie, hi, welcome. You want to just unmute?
Sorry, I just muted myself. I knew you were going to pick on me first. So I guess for us, the beginning of this was all about HR and making sure that we, and it happened so quickly. I mean, it was just feels like yesterday for us that we were all at the Tourism Awards, you know, winning gold there. And then 2 weeks later, I'm pretty much losing kind of the majority of our staff. And that was, you know, pretty heartbreaking. So currently the way the business is now, we've got the staff that we can on JobKeepers. We put everything we possibly could on hold, as in called our landlords, called our banks, called everybody, stopped expenses, stopped as many costs as we possibly could in the business just in preparation. And we were pretty straight off the mark with that. We realised quite fast that this was going to be happening. Once we realised that, we just cut all expenses, all our costs. We're working on a safety management system for our staff. We're also working on a business plan for post-COVID-19. I think that that's really important. We've involved all our staff. They've come in, brought ideas in that me and Ash could probably never have thought of, and I think that's probably been something that's been really important and really supportive for Ash and I. We've also taken the time to kind of financially look at the business and seen where we possibly have been a bit complacent. We really want to come back out of this a more financially more profitable and efficient business, and we now have the time to do that. So I guess that's where we're at right now, is just planning a comeback, planning to be a better business, make sure that we have our key staff behind us, and you know, try and look at it optimistically and positively, because there's definitely been days when it hasn't been that. But I think now we are just, it's a slightly exciting times for us at Red Cats, and to just not dwell on it. You know, that's one of the biggest things here. Okay. We don't dwell.
That's a really good gem there. Thank you. Glenda, hi, how are you?
Thanks, Kayleen. Yeah, look, we're probably in a little bit of a different situation than a few other regions. The Outback, very seasonal, our business. So we were 4 days off opening for the season when everything happened. We had a pre-season wedding the weekend before, and then opening on the Wednesday following that. So all of our staff were in transit, coming up, ready to commence the season. So the hardest thing was definitely having to talk to the staff and to, you know, to let them know where we were at, where the business was at, that we just had to put things on hold at that point in time, not knowing what was going to happen. So we quickly made a decision that we would hold everything till the end of May and make a review the decision mid-May to go forward. So immediately closed everything down for 2 months. So in that, we mothballed the business for the first 2 months to then put the strategies together to go forward. So the staff had some indication of what was going to happen going forward, and also our guests, we could also communicate with them. So communication's been the key in everything, and making sure that we have been on the front foot to deliver the message, and to really make sure that our staff, which are vitally important, but it's now, we're now in a position where we are reviewing what we are going to do going forward. We haven't been able to make a decision, however, that will be made this week. Again, with Outback being in a controlled zone, we finish touring at the end of October. We can't officially start until stage 3. So for 3 months of the year, we're just weighing up the decision as to the viability of opening.
Opening again. Yeah, it's pretty tough when your 12 months has already been condensed down to, from a seasonal point of view as well, down to just a couple of months. Yeah,
and then it becomes 18 months without an income. So for a lot of Outback industry businesses, that is the crucial point.
wow, that's going to be really tough. And let's just hope that businesses can survive this. Thanks, Glenda. I really appreciate your honesty in that. So what I'd like to do now is go to Rachel, and then we'll go to Bridget. So welcome, Rachel. How are you?
I'm really good. Thanks, Kayleen. Hi, ladies and everyone.
So let us know what's happening in your business so far.
Yeah, I think we've probably, as a business group, had similar sort of findings, particularly with the team members. We've had something like 250 staff that were either stood down or on a casual basis. I made a concerted effort in the beginning to make sure that the sales and marketing team, or the commercial team that I work with, we stick to working at least 6 months ahead of ourselves. Because if you get stuck in this, period of time, you're not looking forward, and you've got to prepare for coming out. I think probably the most challenging thing for my team, and they all happen to be females, is those conversations you've got to have with people based around the contracts that you have in place. The one thing that we've really learned is we never took enough time to have a look at our contracts. We just sort of, we were always in such a hurry that we push them out really quickly and move on to the next thing. So we've really discovered that from a business perspective, we've got to spend a lot more time understanding that, what makes another business tick, and what contracts and agreements that they're entering into. Some of our large contracts are worth over $1 million, so the deposits are huge as well. So the negotiations for us have almost been in reverse model of trying to chase business. We've been going backwards and trying to save business and keep people, I guess, in the mindset of just postpone, don't cancel. That's really been important for us, and how we manage that, and how we manage or take in the interest of their business. So I think overwhelmingly we have been in that phase for at least 8 weeks, talking about, when can we come back, how that looks. In particular, the resort here, we're either leisure or we're business events, and business events has just, we don't know what that's going to look like when we come out, particularly from a space perspective, how we'll manage those big groups. We keep saying we don't know if it's September or October or next year, how the key speakers will come. So we're constantly looking at how we will evolve and how we'll get out of that. We haven't necessarily got that roadmap all pinned out, but the good news is that we are seeing some activity, and we're getting people that are rebooking for that September, October, November period, albeit different types of groups. So, we're remaining optimistic, and I think we're consistently, the group here is trying to make sure that this time we spend on improving what we didn't necessarily do well previously. And I think we've all got to look with open eyes, okay, where can we improve? What can we do differently? And it's not a blame of anybody. It's just we become time poor. So we literally just flick through things. But now we've got time to look at it, critique ourselves and how we can do things differently. So we're enjoying that process, just not sure how much longer we'll get to do that.
Thanks, Rach. Look, having been a business coach with businesses for many years, I've always found that once we've gone through a difficult period, it often takes the difficult periods for things like staff contracts to go, oh, there's all these loopholes, or this hasn't been tidied up. And yes, so we often go with, with faith that we're doing the right things, but unfortunately, when times get tough, the legalities of everything starts to fall through, and we really do need to engage some experts to help us with those fine.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a funny thing, a term like a force majeure in a contract. I worked in Cairns for 15 years, and the only thing we'd relate to that would be a cyclone or a pilot strike or something like that. So now, pandemic, how that's evolved, and our understanding will increase, and I think we've got to take those positives and the learnings out of that to move forward. Absolutely.
If we can do anything, is take out the learnings from the past. So thank you for that insight. Bridget, hi, welcome. Beautiful Paronella Park.
Yes.
Goodness, even before a pandemic, you guys have been through a lot of chaos over the years with fires and floods. So tell us a little bit about where you're positioned at the moment and how you're going.
Yeah, we've certainly we've been hit with a few things, and I guess one of the great things about that is that we do, as much as nobody could have ever prepared for COVID, nobody saw this coming, and it sort of just did come so fast and so furiously. We do have that experience with having something close our business for a period and having to sort of reassess and do all those things that you do. At the moment, like a lot of my colleagues here, we're closed because we're not allowed to be open. But the work at a place like Paronella Park and a lot of my colleagues here's attractions, it doesn't stop just because the customers aren't coming through the door. So we're having to do a lot of maintenance, and we're also taking this opportunity to do those things that you don't really get a chance to do when you've got customers. So, you know, oiling the decks and painting and clearing out the shop and making sure that everything is perfect. You can't do that when you've got customers there. We're a 7-day-a-week business, and we are open for day tours and night tours. So there's really no opportunity to do these things. So as much as I wish we didn't have this opportunity right now, we're certainly going to take advantage of it while we've got it and do the best we can. We've got all of our staff on JobKeeper. And I think a lot of people that didn't have to deal with the process might not realize how difficult it was to implement that and to try and find out the information on the fly. And often tourism, I don't know if you guys find this as well, but I find that often when they're mentioning the businesses and what the requirements are and all that kind of thing, tourism is often sort of not mentioned. And so you really have to figure it out for yourself. Hey, which section do we fall into? Where are we? So it was a lot of work getting all that JobKeeper stuff done. We're lucky to be a family business, so we could all sit down as a family and sort of just really nut it out. And it's all we've talked about is how do we do this? What do we do? There's no such thing as talking anything other than business in our family right now, but that's what you've got to do. And we were grateful to be able to put all of our staff on JobKeeper. We've got an incredible team, and whenever anyone visits Paronella Park or the Mamu Tropical Skywalk, everybody always says how great our customer service is. I mean, and we're really proud of that. So having to let our team go or stand them down was devastating. So we were so grateful that the government provided that opportunity. And I think probably one of the most important things that we've been doing during this closure period as well is finding different ways to communicate with our guests and to improve their experience and to keep in touch with them. Kayleen, you've probably got questions further into that topic further on, so I won't run my mouth here. If you give me an opportunity to speak, I never stop, so I'll stop.
No, that's fantastic, Bridget. And I must confess, I think we were all feeling so overwhelmed when it first hit. I don't think anyone. It was just hard to try to get our head around the enormity of what they were saying, that we were having to close down business. And it was so surreal. And I know that I offered to be part of a help desk with QTIC at the very beginning. And it was really frustrating because the government weren't quite prepared for this as well. And they were making announcements, but the activation of that announcements were taking weeks. So people were very buoyed with the announcement, but it was like, but what does that mean? And where do I find it? So I'll certainly come back and I'll be asking everybody what some of the key takeouts and what they think about the future will be. So thanks, Bridget. I really appreciate it. So I'd now love to go to Amanda and then Loni and then Amy. So Amanda, hi, Capricorn Caves. How you going? You just need to unmute yourself, Amanda.
I'm here now. Hello. Good.
So yes, some of your experiences. I know that we've had a couple of chats over the last couple of weeks. It always is for everybody. You know, what we do first, staff are really essential, clients. So just tell us a bit of your journey so far.
So we, as soon as things started to happen, we were quite proactive in realising things were going to get serious pretty quickly. So we started conversations with staff. One of the first ones we said was things are going to be different. We probably had no idea 2 days later we'd be saying, well, we're shutting in we're pretty much going to shut. So moved pretty quickly there. Probably it's been hard for the staff we've had to communicate with them, but it's also been really hard. We're a big family. We have about 20 staff, but essentially we still run like a small business. With the government putting announcements out, it's been really tricky because they're expecting that we're getting this funding that hasn't happened as smooth or as quickly as employees probably thought it would be happening. So communicating that with the staff has been a pretty big factor. I think there was a bit of shock initially. We all had a bit of a moment where we had to get over the shock of is this really happening? You know, we cut all of our expenses. A lot of our suppliers were really good in understanding the tourism industry was really hard hit and suspended things. And a lot of our contractors who have not been affected have been really good at making life a little bit easier in a really difficult situation. Putting a bit of a strategy forward, I think probably like a lot of people, having a proposed tentative open date at the moment gives us a lot of hope, but we don't know what that market's going to look like. For our business, we're over 30% international, and we have a huge education market. So the internationals, we obviously know are gone for a while, and the education market is, schools want it. They just keep calling us every day, and they keep wanting to come as of like third term after the winter holidays, but a lot of them just have no idea as to what they're doing. So they're really hungry for our product. They just being legislated, which is really hard, because if we can get them in, it's a big factor on how successful our business is going to be going forward. So trying to put those business plans in place with a lot of uncertainty, I'd say, is like a lot of people, it's definitely tricky. It's been challenging. I think when we get through it, it's going to be really rewarding to know we survived the end of it. But it's been definitely a roller coaster of emotions. And I think we all just don't have that certainty going forward. So we're just trying to do as much planning as we can, reviewing our terms and conditions, cancellations policies, taking that opportunity to really do that. And for us, it's about engaging with local market, which we've not been our strength in the past. So how do we do that? And partnering with other businesses where possible.
Great. No, look, it's the unknown entity. It's as I've been suggesting to yourself and other clients moving forward, is we have to do a bit of scenario planning. What if it goes this way, but what if it doesn't, and what if it goes the other way? And yes, at the moment it's still little by little. We certainly haven't come through this, and I personally feel that, and I know that our Chief Health Minister says the same, this is not over yet. And I think that the recent cluster, or the situation that just happened in Rockhampton, is a perfect example of how something quite unexpected could go very big. So it's just little by little, and it is all about survival day by day. So thanks for sharing that, Amanda. I appreciate it. So Loni, hi, Bundaberg.
Howdy, everyone.
You're in a beautiful tropical environment.
Yeah, this is my office.
Palm trees. Oh, look,
this is my office. Yeah. Sorry. Lucky there's no one from Melbourne online, right?
You never know. There could quite possibly be.
You never know. So now that we've kind of gotten through that crazy part of JobKeeper, and do we get people to stay on Keeper, or the capacity, how long will that take to come back? So should they be on JobSeeker? Now that most of that is kind of underway, we are planning for that June 12th opening date. Silly, as much as we wanted it to happen, it's probably come around quicker than we thought, because we had this long list of things we wanted to get through, renovations, refurbishments, and which we've started, but now we've kind of got like 3 weeks to kind of get them all finished before D-Day comes around. So but it's been really good to have that headspace and the time to stand back and have a look at what we've been doing in the past, and what are our most important customer needs, and how we can service them better and more effectively and efficiently on the flip side of all this. So we've definitely taken that opportunity, and this week we're planning on finalising our plan for that June 12th, although we do realise we could go forward and we could go back a little bit. So we've always got that in the back of our mind as well.
Yeah. So the market that you're looking at is the drive market, what is it, 250?
50, yes. I've printed it out on
there.
Google Maps and I've stuck it right next to my computer. And as a destination, we're definitely working together on doing that, rather than just keep, just going out on our own. We know that, there's more power in it if we're doing it all together.
Collaboration.
Yes.
Collaboration and partnership. Look, I'm very aware that as Queensland opens up, we're all in competition with each other, but it's about collaboration. People are very keen to jump in that car and go for a drive. And if we can somehow allow them to connect the dots as easy as possible and share the love with people and experiences, the better it will be for everybody. And I think the tourism industry is very good at that. We've always know that, individually as regions, yes, we're buying for our own target market, but, collectively we've always marketed together. We go, here we are, we're regional, but we're Queensland, we're Australia. So thanks, Loni, that's great. And Amy from Lady Elliott, I know that you've been nice and busy. How are you, Amy?
Hello, hi. Hi, Kayleen, thanks for having me. Yeah, so it has been a crazy couple of weeks. As everyone said, our story is very similar to most of the girls here in regards to how it all went down. I guess our first contact with coronavirus started when Chinese New Year basically got wiped off the table when we have a significant amount of day tours that travel during that period from the Chinese market, and we lost all those bookings during that time. So that's when coronavirus first kind of became prevalent in our business. I guess we were kind of taking it day by day with the announcements that were coming out from the government in regards to operations and restrictions with coronavirus. And someone said earlier that it was surreal, and that's no other word I guess I can put to it, was the day that we basically said that we were going to close the resort, with one of the most surreal days that I've ever had. We are a family business. And I've been going to Lady Elliott since I was 5. So to us, it was very emotional day. And to our team and our family, we've got 120 staff between Lady Elliott and Sea Air, which is our flight charter business that take guests to the island. We are a tight-knit group, so that was an extremely devastating time for our management team and Peter and my mum, Julie. So we just felt our hearts were breaking for everyone during that time, and we couldn't give any, we didn't know what the future held, and it was just so uncertain. But once JobKeeper came around, it was just a fantastic initiative from the government that we could implement, and we put all of the staff that we could that were eligible on JobKeeper, which helped engage obviously with the business. Obviously, because we are so remote, we have things that we still have to manage on the islands. We've got to one of our main concerns was illegal fishing, because we are a green zone. So we did want to make sure that we had a presence on the islands during that time. So when we first closed, we had a small team of about 5 out on the island, basically watching out for the wildlife and just keeping the resort ticking, making sure everything's still operating appropriately. And then once JobKeeper came around, we managed to get about 20 of our team out there, and they have been non-stop. We've been, like Bridget said, we're a full day, everyday operation as a resort, and it's so difficult to get to those big tasks when you are full house. And we've pretty much been operating for the last couple of years between 90 and 95% occupancy, so we don't have a lot of downtime at the moment. So some of the jobs that we've been able to complete in this last 2 months have been significant, some which I'm sure I might be able to mention later, but just off my head, a few jobs have been, we've completely renovated our gift shop and our office, just ripped up our commercial kitchen and completely redone that, and working on some new roofs. So things that you would never really get the opportunity to do unless you staggered it over an extended period. So the fact that we had this time, in a way, has also been a blessing to get those major jobs done quicker. Obviously, it's been a bit of a balancing act financially as well, to make sure that we can still manage the business and as well manage the paying everyone and managing all these tasks that we've decided that we're going to do. So we have set a reopen date, which we are very excited about, which will be the 13th of June as well. And for us at the moment, it's just been kind of managing how the resort is going to run once the 13th of June comes around. Because we have a team on the island, we do still practice social distancing, and we have our coronavirus safety management plan that we have in place at the moment that we make sure that all of our team follows. But it obviously changes significantly once you've got guests that you're not really sure where they're coming from. So we're going to have our COVID safe plan in place by the 13th of June to make sure that everyone is safe, including our team and our guests. And we'll probably end up, we're working at running the resort at about 50% bed occupancy, which is about 70 to 80 guests, which is basically half for us with a 44-room resort. It's interesting time because we'll be able to slowly bring everyone back. We've had really, really, really great support from all of our RTOs and obviously all of our colleagues like yourselves here, and as well our guests online. We have had a significant amount of support from them, and once we announced that we were reopening, our phones have pretty much been non-stop. So it's been really, really fantastic to have that support and to know that, you know, everyone's out there looking forward to coming back. So now as well, like everyone said, it's just managing moving forward and how resort operations will change. Everything will be completely different, but, you know, change is good. And we just got to roll with it and just keep everyone in the loop and engaged and act quickly. I found that's probably one of the most takeaway for me is it's been changing so much that you have to act quickly in response to everything that is going on, and, you know, policy wise, procedure wise, just moving as fast as the coronavirus is moving, really.
Yeah. You know, fluidity, you know, ensuring that you remain really flexible. And honestly, that can do all our heads in. You know, from a mental health point of view, we think we've got a strategy and everything's in place, and then it only takes one little hiccup. And it affects us all very deeply, you know, professionally as well as personally. Sometimes it's like, you know, this is just all too hard, what is happening out there. So making sure that each and every one of you look after yourselves is really important. And, you know, what Julie was saying earlier, you know, in regard to, you know, it's not about, her comment was don't dwell. And I think that's just part of, we're going into a whole new paradigm that we don't even know about. So we need to be a little bit kinder to ourselves and realize that maybe we will pivot in the wrong direction and we might just need to re-pivot again. But I think, you know, that one of the things that is often say, the only thing that is constant in this world is change. And boy, do we know that at this very moment. So just going back and have a looking at, you know, moving into the future, what will your product, you know, how will it might differ? What were any key learnings? Any type of key point that you would like to take? So by the time we do a quick wrap around there, I think our hour will be up. So anything key that you would like to say? So, you know, key experience, key learning, what your product will look like. And also one of the things is there anything that you see as from an industry point of view that we'll need to look at? I know from my point of view, governance and those sort of things, you know, taking of deposits from third parties has been raised with me on a lot of occasions. There's a lot of operators out there, and I know that Julie is one of them that
that's
is
what
owed
I
a
was
lot
just going
of
to say.
money.
That's a key.
So Julie, do you want to say?
A key learning curve, unfortunately for us, was that we didn't protect our money enough, and you know, we're owed just over $161,000 from one wholesaler who, you know, that's been pretty financially crippling for the business, and obviously put a lot more stress, a lot more anxiety on us. So that's definitely a change that we will be looking at into the future, and something that I think is really important to get out to the industry. You know, make sure that your money is held in a trust, or that you use a system where you're guaranteed to get the money in the bank. And also for us, I wish I'd hired a HR manager before this, because for me, the HR and the emotional attachment that I had to staff made it very difficult to make the decisions that we had to. So they're probably the two major changes that I would have made and will be making moving forward in the business, for sure.
Hindsight can give us so much more wisdom, yeah. And like I said, it's often when people bring me on as a coach, it's because they're going through massive changes, and that's when we review things. And at the moment, wow, are we reviewing every policy, every procedure, how we did it, and also products. You know, sometimes we have a product that we don't, maybe hasn't been working as well as what we would like it to be, but because of forward bookings and, you know, commitment into the future, we don't change it. Well, I know that there are various operators now that are taking that opportunity to change some of their products. So thanks, Julie, I appreciate that. Glenda, I know it's really tough as what you've just said. There is a lot of unknown entity out there, but from an operational perspective, were there any key learnings that you identified from what you've done, you know, moving forward? If the operation, let's be optimistic, does open up and does continue, any key learnings that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, look, thanks, Kayleen. One of the key things in all of this, and it's nothing new, it's just probably a reminder, is the communication element. I believe that businesses that have communicated well throughout this process by using clear, positive messaging, adding humour, as we've seen in the ISO bin challenge, they're the businesses that are going to be positioned really well, because they've already got a connection to their consumers. Plus, they've also proving themselves safe because they've been on the forefront all the time. So when the consumers are ready to travel, the space and safety are going to be the two elements they're going to be looking for more than anything else. So how can businesses provide that, and making sure that that's in all of our procedures going forwards, regardless of when businesses open. I believe that there will be some regulation from this and some learnings that we have got that will go forward and become our new norm. And I believe social distancing will form part of that going forward. It will be expected. There's still flus and colds and other illnesses that we suffer each year, and this has proved that it is a way of reducing that. So going forward, I believe that hand sanitizing stations and increased hygiene and cleanliness will become just part of our normal day-to-day operations. It won't be something that's implemented now and we drop off in 6 months' time. So I believe it is something that going forward will be the new norm. So it's how can we do that? From a concern going forward is loading, so load capacity restrictions. And there's many tour operators that have these concerns, from airlines through to coach companies through to boat operators, how we can maximize our load capacities to be sustainable going forward. So they're things that we really need to look carefully at now, and making sure that we are installing the systems to go forward. And again, in mind that people want to have safety, and safety can just mean social distancing. So how do we do that? Like, we live in an amazing part of the world where we have lots and lots of space.
You do, yeah.
But when we do go on tour, we do have people in close proximity. So how can we do that better? And how can we still showcase what we have to do in a better but still also for everybody to enjoy? So that's our biggest focus. And I do think it is something that we will concentrate on very much over the next few months to make sure that that is all right. And then when we do open the Outback region and let people into our bubble, we'll be ready for you.
Look, thank you. I think you raised some really key points. Often when fear overtakes us, we tend to be a bit quiet and we wait for everybody else to do things. But communication is absolutely critical. And I think we can't ever underestimate that even some of the little things that we might take for granted, you know, i.e., yes, there is a government initiative or restriction out there for spacing and your 1.5 metres. Don't assume that just because the government have said it, that your customers think that you'll do it. You need to communicate that you've acknowledged it and that you are taking it on board. So be very forthcoming with the fact that you have acknowledged these things and you are taking them. Don't just assume, well, yes, we're supposed to do it because obviously we will. That obvious is not going to cut it with the customers out there. Safety, absolutely. They want to get out there and they certainly want to start traveling around the state, but they want to know that where they're going are going to be compliant. So thanks for those comments, Glenda. I appreciate them. So we'll go across through to Rachel. Any key takeouts from what we've done, or any particular issues you can see into the future for the industry?
I think, again, I'll focus probably on opportunity. Take the opportunity to, you know, train or learning and development with your staff. We often teach people from a sales perspective, sales 101. Let's go back and think about the negotiation process with, you know, hanging on, you know, risk mitigation, hanging on to your money. Making sure that we actually get somebody to look over legally our terms and conditions and our contracts and agreements, because a lot of the time they've been in place for years. Making sure that the staff understand them, because they need to communicate that to your end user. And of course, you know, any group, I guess, bookings, particularly from an inbound perspective compared to, you know, business events or something like that, take the opportunity now to really look at where you sit with those contracts and how secure you are, because I know, you know, the inbound contracts can often be very different to domestic ones, and there's a lot of risk there. So, you know, have some goes at, you know, maybe moving things around. This is an opportunity as an industry for us to secure ourselves a little bit better. And let's spend time with our team members and our colleagues and educating them, and work to the future. You know, don't get stuck in today or next week. Just keep thinking about that future, because it will come out a lot better, and you want to position yourself really well.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. They're wise words. I mean, we can get stuck into the pain and the sorrow and the frustration that we're in at the very moment. But you're all leaders in your industry. And as much as we do feel that, we do need to know beyond. I don't know whether we'll actually ever get to beyond COVID, because as they're saying, that's going to be something. But it's like there's a lot of diseases that are around the world. When we travel, we have to have inoculations, etc. Hopefully the impact of it will be reduced and we will start to travel. So keeping yourself buoyed with that planning into the future and just taking it day by day. So I appreciate your feedback there. Thank you. Bridget, so any key issues, any key learnings and takeouts?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that it's important to keep in mind at all times, not just, I hate this saying, but I'm going to say it, in a post-COVID world, but at all times, we need to be aware of our relationships and keep our relationships strong. The only reason that Paronella Park is able to even consider reopening right now, well, not right now, but when we're allowed to, is because we have strong relationships with our bank, with our suppliers, with other operators. And it's proving daily that those things are so important. The relationships with our LTOs and RTOs, with QTIC, all that sort of stuff that you do sort of on a yearly basis, this really is coming to help us at this time. The tourism awards submissions that we all do every year, and we're all like, oh my gosh, it's so much work. It really prepares you for these things. I'm sure that every single one of you girls has like an excellent risk management strategy in place, because every year when we fill in these forms for the tourism awards, we're forced to look at it and forced to go like, oh, we could do that better. So those sort of processes are really valuable as well. another thing I think is really important is communication, not only with our staff and our suppliers, letting everybody know what's going on, but also with our customers. It's really an opportunity. People care about your product. People have visited you. They've had a great time there. They care about you guys and how you're doing. So we've been using a lot of social media, Facebook and Insta and that kind of thing, to let people know how we're doing, give them a bit of a behind the scenes of what happens in the business, even when you're close to the public, and show them that we're still here and caring about their experience when they come back. And probably finally, the thing that is a key learning for us and what I think is important for everybody going forward is innovation. So we need to continue to innovate, continue to improve our experience, which can be difficult when you're a property that was built in the 1920s to try and do modern things, but we try. And one thing that we are bringing in, and will help with social distancing as well, which, as you guys said, it will, as Glenda was saying, that will continue. It's not like we're all going to reopen and suddenly we can all be sitting, you know, on each other's laps. But what we're going to do is have an app as well. So people will be able to, instead of doing the guided tour, if they don't feel comfortable doing that, or if we're not allowed to do guided tours, they can walk off on their own. It's a big property, so they can take the app, they can learn those things. But also, and you guys are going to be the first to hear this, we are launching a podcast ourselves, which is coming out. We've got a media call on Thursday, but it's the story of Paronella Park. It's called The Spanish Dreamer. And it's just a way for us to keep in contact with our customers. And also, some people might not be able to visit us. They might be elderly or infirm. It's a beautiful story and people are stuck in their houses. So we wanted to provide a nice story for them to listen to. So we're really excited about that as well.
Well done. And look, you know, again, as everybody here knows, I'm a total advocate in regard to tourism awards. And I know most of you here have taken away awards in the past, and I congratulate you all for that. But one of the reasons that I am such a big believer is that it really gets you to know your business. And exactly as Bridget was saying, you know, that risk management strategies, the business planning area, it allows us to go in there and it allows us to benchmark ourselves year on year of where we've gone. And a big overarching element of all of that is, and one of the reasons why I love the tourism awards, is that constant push for innovation. You can't just go, what we did last year was good enough. We've got to go, what are we going to do again? So I congratulate you, Bridget. I love the idea. I love the story of Paronella Park. I'm a North Queensland girl, so I have been there on numerous occasions, and it's a beautiful love story. And yes. I think people will certainly enjoy listening to that. And I think, you know, what our experience was before, and I've said that before, and customer expectations, it's going to be a bit different. And, you know, people will want to be heard. They want to feel safe. There's a whole range of other elements we just need to introduce into that. So I really appreciate your thoughts. Thanks, Bridget.
No problem. I want to apologise for the sound as well. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but you're a North Queensland girl, Kayleen. You know the sound. It is bucketing down rain right now. Sorry.
Yes, is it?
Oh. Rainforest without a little rain.
Exactly. Well, I must confess, I thought a bit of a storm was coming over here just a few moments ago too. It got very windy, but it keeps everything beautiful and green. It's giving everything a lovely wash for when we do open. Let's just Excellent, thank you. Amanda, any key learnings or industry issues coming forward?
Probably as we're going forward, social distancing is here to stay. We get that. And we looked at all the experiences we currently offer. We probably, like most people, looked at our whole business overview. We're rebranding, remarketing, changing some of our more popular, successful experiences around to accommodate social distancing, but also an opportunity to take out some of the things that didn't work. So we're combining social distancing with, you know, what does and doesn't work, going through all our imagery, going through our whole database, and, you know, we're social distance. We're 80 acres. We have a lot of space, but we probably haven't portrayed that message enough to our guests. So that's something we're really considerate and probably more conscious of going forward, that we put that message out there. It's not just something we do, kind of like the COVID safety requirements and the COVID plan. We just do it because we know it needs to be done, but we need to be clear at communicating that to the people we're hosting. So going forward with that. And, you know, just partnerships is probably a big one we're working on locally in our own region at the moment. We'd always sort of had these intentions to put certain packages together with other operators in the area, and we're really just taking this as the opportunity to get that over the line and make those things we wanted to do on the want list actually happen at the moment. So
I think the tourism industry has always been very good with developing relationships, but I take on board, I think it was Bridget, when we mentioned, you know, often we think it's just trade partners, but it, you know, it is our suppliers, obviously, which are crucial, the banks, a whole range. So we're, as they've been saying this for a long time, since this started, we're all in this together. So hopefully together we will move forward. So thanks, Amanda, I appreciate that. Loni, any key takeouts of where you've come through, any key learnings or any industry issues you think that as an industry we will need to come together and reformulate? Whoops, can't hear you. Just need to unmute yourself. There you go.
Thank you, sorry. Apart from what the rest of the ladies have talked about, we're definitely feeling a little bit grateful, really. We were lucky enough to live in the Bargara bubble, but also, you know, it's a little bit of a reset. It has really given us the space and the opportunity to reevaluate what we do and how we can do it smarter going into the future. And a big part of that reset has been a really large acknowledgement around mental health. We as managers, our staff, we're all people, and I think we really do need to try to support and respect each other more, and that'll make everybody shine, and businesses and people will thrive, I feel, if we're just a little bit more understanding and supportive. I wanted to acknowledge, you know, I'm very, very lucky to have some awesome tourism buddies who've been my go-to. So I highly recommend that as a resource. Connect with your friends, because yes, I don't think it's over. It might be a long while yet. So the support you have around you, make sure it's positive, and you stay connected with those that are positive in your life.
Very nicely said. Yep, I 100% agree. You know, as leaders in the industry, we often need to appear to be incredibly stoic, and but we are human. We are human beings, and there are times, and we're literally, this is a roller coaster, and unfortunately, we're still on it, and there's going to be a few more loops to go through before, you know, we sort of come out the other end, whatever that will be, and there could be a bit of a tunnel that'll be a bit dark. And we need to support each other. And I love, Loni, your comment about, you know, being supportive. I think we need to be just more consciously aware that everybody's going through things. So to remain kind and calm. And if something doesn't quite gel at the time, just to take a deep breath to realize that that person may not be having the best day, and we'll rejoin that conversation a little bit later. So thank you for raising that issue of mental health. I think it's really good. You know, keeping that positive mental attitude is really important, but understanding that we all can't remain on a high. There will be bad days. And the great thing about the tourism industry is we are a great network. So I encourage you all to reach out to your networks and you know, catch up for a virtual coffee, or now we're allowed to actually go to a coffee shop. Just have a little chat. That's absolutely important. So finally, Amy, I know that you and your dad are often real leaders and stalwarts for the industry moving forward for a whole range of things. So as a parting words, is there any key experiences that you, as a takeout, or any industry issues moving forward that you think that we might need to address?
Yeah, my dad's been saying it's a game of snake and ladders that we've been playing. So some days you go up, you make a little win, and then the next day you actually go back down and you're back to where you started. So we've been kind of playing that game and using it as a little joke in in the office.
It's actually a very good scenario because it makes you realise that once we're up, is there going to be something?
Yeah, you know, you're going to come back down at some stage, so just get ready for it. But yeah, so a lot of the things that everyone else has mentioned is, I guess I was going to say as well, communication has been probably the most one that has changed the most for us in our business. In regards to talking with our team, we're just using different tools to communicate with, because we've got such a widespread across the East Coast. So we've got team here on the Gold Coast, Hervey Bay, Bundaberg, and as well on islands. So staying connected with them is actually quite difficult at times, but, you know, we've implemented different things, you know, Facebook groups and SMS text messages to get communication stories out there, just so everyone stays involved with what's going on, because it's so, as we've talked about, it's changing so quickly that one day we're not closed, the next day we're open. So yeah, just making sure that everyone was connected in that way. And as well, communication with our guests online has been massive for us. And for our marketing, I guess we always just try and remain as transparent as possible. You know, just what's going on is what's going on. So we try and make sure that all of our guests know exactly where we stand and what we're doing. We know we're running at 50% occupancy, and our guests know that. So when they get there, they understand that's why the rooms are closed, etc. Yeah, and the other thing I was going to mention is cross-training for us will be massive. Obviously, because with the reduced occupancy, we're going to have reduced staff on the island. So having the ability to cross-train between departments will be massive for us. We already do that, and our team are amazing. They all grab a paintbrush, or they jump from housekeeping to the front office, or they go from kitchen through to maintenance. So we already do have that that in place, but we're probably implementing it obviously a little bit more as well. Really, really, really liked what Loni said as well, and something that I've taken away from this whole experience is, as a leader, creating a safe space for your team to step up and take control in these uncertain times and these situations, and remaining connected and respectful of every single person's situation, and understanding that we all have so many different lives and all these different elements impact us in so many different ways, and just understanding how this change affects us all, and being respectful to that as well. I guess a few things we've done in the last couple of weeks that I guess we've wanted to do for a long time but haven't done it, but we've had the time now, is obviously our virtual tours have been really, really great in regards to keeping people connected online, and something that we'll probably continue to do as well. It's been really great way to keep our team engaged, creating the tours, and then as well as keeping our guests engaged online. We've set up a live chat through our website, which we never had before. I'm not really sure why we didn't have it, but it's been really, really positive for us, minimising extra phone calls, extra emails. So that's been really positive as well. And we're about to launch an online shop with all of our gift shop items. So because we're closed, a lot of people have been wanting new hats, new drink bottles, all those sorts of things. Something we've never had before either. So that's really positive for us as an innovation. And yeah, I guess like everyone else has said, is just changing the way that we run our tours, because we have a lot of tours on the island as well, and making sure that our social distancing is appropriate, and that everyone still gets that same Lady Elliott experience that they've come out for and that we are known for, and that they do get to swim with the turtles behind me, and they don't know what social distancing is, unfortunately. So yeah, so that's really it. And I guess, yeah, just being positive and having, being positive with your team and with everyone, having a smile on your face every day.
No, look, thank you, Amy, and thank you everyone here today. We are now going on to the hour, so we're now going to wrap it up. You've raised some really incredible points. It's really heartening to hear that innovation is still a key out there, and people are still thinking about it, not just because of necessity, but because that's where they believe the customer will want to go. So I congratulate you all on that. We're all very aware that there have been things in the past, but because we've been so busy, as Rachel was saying, we've taken a lot of things for granted because we've been doing it for such a long time. And it's only until a real hiccup starts to appear that we realise that there are some holes in that we need to review the current product that we have and just ensure that it's going to be the right product moving forward with the restrictions that we have. as Glenda said before, communication absolutely critical. Just because it happens to be a matter of policy, we still have to tell the customers that we've understood, we've heard that, and we've actually implemented it. So that needs to be communicated through a variety of ways. I love Julie's, you know, let's not dwell on the issue, but let's get excited about moving forward and the planning and everything that we need to do. It's great to hear about the maintenance that is happening, that you've taken the opportunity to take your product to a next level, that you're thinking about your staff, you're thinking about your customers. There is so much to take forth. I do believe there will be some more issues, as Julie had raised before, you know, from a financial point of view and how third parties are handled. I don't think we can get back into that situation again. So I'm pretty sure that the industry will have a look at those sort of things. I love how Amanda actually said, you know, it's just about doing things differently. You know, we get stuck in, but that's how we've always done it. Well, we just have that clear mind now, and we need to be, as someone mentioned, you know, we need to be a little bit more fluid. So I want to thank each and every one of you. So we have Julie from Red Cat and the Whitsundays, Loni from Kelly's Beach Resort in Bundaberg, Glenda from Cobbold Gorge in the beautiful Outback. We have Rachel from Novotel Twin Waters. And Rachel, I have to say, my heart, when the Tourism Awards was cancelled this year, my heart really went out to you guys, because I know how excited you were to host it. But, you know, let's fingers crossed that 2021, from what everybody's been saying, you've got lots to put into your Tourism Awards submission. So that's very exciting. Amanda, Capricorn, really fantastic. Thank you for having along. And Bridget from Paronella Park, sensational. Bindi, thank you for keeping me honest. I've been getting these little messages. Kayleen, it's 45 minutes. We need to start wrapping up. So we said no more than an hour, and I think we've gone like 1 hour and 2 minutes. So I congratulate you all, and I thank you all for saying yes, as I said before. Before I do leave, for the people that are still here with us, I'd just like to mention who we've got on next week. So next week we have Jeannie Armstrong from Fitzroy Island up in TTNQ. We have Amber Rogers from 1770 Lark Tours from 1770/Gladstone. We have Sharon Caldwell from the Next Hotel here in Brisbane. We have Amanda Talagali from Wake House in Mackay. We have Natalie Scottney from the Delacca Hotel, the Pink Pub. I actually saw them on telly just recently from down this way. And we have Jackie Price from the Ginger Factory on the Sunshine Coast. So stay tuned for next week. Again, sincerely appreciate everybody for your attendance. I wish you all the best. If any of you ladies have any queries or questions, or would like to just bounce something off me, you are more than welcome to just pick up the phone and have a quick chat. More than welcome to do that. So all the very best, everybody. Take